Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a very special online event today. It's called Recognize Your Body's Intuitive Messages, a medical intuition activation to access your multisensory gifts with greater clarity and vividness. My name is Stephen Dinan. I'm the founder and president of the Shift Network. And one of my favorite faculty members that I've been doing a lot with lately is who you're going to get to learn from today. Her name is Marie Manuchehri. She's a registered nurse. She's an energy medicine healer and medium, and she has a deep expertise in the realm of medical intuition, really like accessing our ability to know more about our bodies and our
Hmm.
concern. How do we bring health and vitality and wellness and connection to our divinity into our bodies in a really beautiful way? So, Marie, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Stephen. I'm very excited about this topic so that more and more people can easily understand their awareness and consciousness, their insight.
Great. Well, we're going to dive in. I know you've got some really powerful things planned for us, and I also want to let everyone know that we are going to have a brand new course, 7-week course with Marie coming up, where you can go much deeper and really put these key insights into practice in your life. So, Maria, I always like to start with a little bit of backstory since you have a fascinating journey and as a nurse and really bridging these worlds of deep psychic intuition and practical medical knowledge.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating experience. Thank you so much to be able to love modern medicine and also love holistic medicine and energy healing all together and really recognize that no matter what a person chooses, if they have their insight, if they understand how it works and they spend time with it, activating it and encouraging it to be a part of their normal life, a lot of wonderful things can happen to them. And I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about energy medicine. I'd never studied it, even though I've studied spirituality for many, many years, even when I was quite young. And it was during my time as an oncology nurse at a Seattle area hospital that I began to see and hear energy while standing at the bedside of our patients doing nursing tasks, changing an IV or changing a fluid or taking out sutures or just auscultating my patient's body to see how their body was functioning with all the treatments that we were giving them. And I was delighted. I think studying spirituality for a young age made it possible for me not to be afraid, which is really important when you translate knowledge. You can't be in fear. You can't be in fight or flight. You really do have to understand your own rhythm in your body. And what surprised me the most is how these repressed feelings that people have from maybe years gone by that they haven't resolved or haven't even looked at, that's actually what was causing their disease. So it was a fascinating experience, and I was very lucky to be supported by my nurse supervisor and physicians who would sometimes order me. They would write in the order that I would go do some sort of what do they call it? Therapeutic touch, because they would go, could you go in there and do that thing that you did to Mrs. Johnson last week on Mrs. Williams? And I would be busy. I was a charge nurse most days. I have 3 pagers on my belt and I'm running around. And I said on 3 occasions, I can't. And 3 different physicians wrote orders for me to go do it. So I was very blessed to be so supported very early on in my new career that I developed.
Well, it's great that you have that background. I love that you can bridge these worlds. And I want to rewind a little bit and go back to where you were talking about how unresolved feelings were actually a source energy behind a lot of the cancer diagnoses and sicknesses. And I'd love to just give a broad overview of like, how is it that things that are unprocessed or unresolved in our field of feelings, energy, eventually outpicture in disease form?
It's a great question. Energy actually moves in our body based on our emotions. So if we have an emotion that we ignored or we tried to pretend that it wasn't real or we stuffed it down, some people are embarrassed to feel their feelings. I mean, it's such a vulnerable part of our lives to have an awareness of shame or anger that may come up for us. And so people unconsciously kind of stuff it down into their body, and certain emotions are connected to certain chakras that govern certain organs. And so if, let's say, anger, which the liver is very connected to through the third chakra. If people have a lot of repressed anger, it'll eventually get to their liver and it could create liver health issues. It could actually affect their immune system because the liver is a big part of their immune system. And every person who I've had an awareness that they have repressed anger has said to me that they're not angry. No, I'm not. I'm fine. I'm not angry. And so what I ask them to do is to actually have themselves experience a few temper tantrums a week. They don't have to be angry about anything, but if they could just lay down on the floor and kick and scream like they're 2 or 4, they're going to start releasing it. And then they're going to perhaps even have an awareness of some of the repressed feelings that they have. But that's not even really necessary. Just letting the anger out could have a profound effect on their health, because now, due to this release work that they're just doing kind of fun, although people are embarrassed to do it. I mean, I have to really talk them into it. And they go, well, it's going to freak out my dog, or my kids might be scared. And just, I say, tell your kids that you're going to go through a temper tantrum. They'll think it's funny because they certainly have. And put your dog in a different room, close the door, turn up the music if you want to. So as they're releasing this stagnant energy that could affect many parts of their body, because the liver is kind of the last organ that anger goes into. It absorbs it very quickly and fully, but it can go into different parts of the body first. They start to get better because now, with the release of that repressed energy, the liver can take in clean subatomic particles that are neutral and powerful and healing.
Beautiful. Well, I'm getting the image of like a stream that's flowing, and it's like all these unresolved emotions are like, debris and rocks and things that were like blocking the flow of the stream, and that we need the fresh water, the stream, to sort of for sustenance in each part of our body.
That's exactly right. Yes.
So, so I hear the temper tantrums on the checklist of things to do. What are some of the other things that you often recommend to sort of unblock feelings or things that are undigested or unresolved? What are some of the steps to sort of getting that free flow going again?
Great question, Stephen. I really encourage people to be present, because most people don't even know what they're feeling. They don't know even how they're reacting to their world experiences. Their mind has given them a particular impression, but our mind isn't where real emotions are stored, and our mind doesn't really have an awareness of real emotions. It's a very intellectual, intelligent part of who we are, but it has nothing to do with intuition, and intuition's all about real feelings. So just being present and asking yourself, what am I feeling now? Even if you don't know, because eventually you are going to know. You're going to have an awareness. If you can step into that part of yourself and just be curious, even if your mind is telling you that you're having a feeling, I wouldn't trust it. I don't listen to what my mind says to me at all about my emotions. I wait till I can stop my mind, which I think is a power move to get the mind not to think. I think it's very powerful. And then you can ask the question, what am I really feeling? And just kind of wait in observation, not out of fear or worry, but just curiosity, like, wow, what am I feeling right now? And again, not knowing is really okay. And instead of coming up with some mental answer that isn't a true reflection of what we're really feeling.
So when we're curious about if we have a disease already or some area that has something unusual going on that we're kind of suspicious of in our body, how do you start to get into what might be behind that issue?
Another great question. First, we have to wait till we're calm. So people get scared and worried when they suspect there's something wrong with their body, or they're feeling pain, or perhaps they've seen a practitioner and they've been given a diagnosis, or they need to undergo some tests for further evaluation. And when you're scared, it's going to be hard to get intuitive information. So what I like to do and what I recommend is go do something fun and playful and silly, get your energy into a different vibration. And then when you're ready, when you feel really calm and your autonomic system is balanced, then you can go sit in that place, because the body is talking to us all the time. It wants to share information with us 24/7, but we're usually not in alignment with its energy. And its energy is actually high vibrational. Its energy doesn't worry. It's not scared. It's more of our mind that gets in that way. So if we can get out of our brains, get into the present moment, and get curious about that body part, you can get a flow of insight that's going to be accurate and helpful all at the same time.
Hmm. I think that's really curious. The body itself is operating in a higher vibrational state than our mind typically. Can you expand a little bit on that?
Sure. A lot of things vibrate at a higher frequency than the mind. Even wealth vibrates at a higher frequency than the mind. So, because everything's energy, including money. So, lots of things vibrate at a higher frequency than the mind. And so, if we can get out of it, which is the trick, the power move, then we have a free way of knowledge that is available to us. The mind just, there's nothing wrong with our brains. They're beautiful. We've just used them for centuries to overthink and analyze, thinking that that is the way we can get to the information that we need. But that's not what I believe about it. I believe it's there to do logical things for us, to make sure we have the right lighting when we come online, or that we get to a meeting at the right time, that our phones are fully charged if we're going to take a trip. All the logical things that we have to do in this third dimensional space to live a full life, the brain's perfectly well created to do that. In fact, when we leave Earth, when our energy leaves Earth, we don't take our brain with us. It's only needed in a third dimensional space.
Interesting. Share a little bit about psychic sight, and you've done so much to help open the psychic channel. So it's obviously that's kind of transcending the mental function. But maybe share how you perceive psychic sight, and then how does it relate to being able to receive these signals from the body?
Another lovely question. Thank you. So the third eye does reside in the brain, but think of it like a television screen. So it projects images, feelings, sounds, smells that we can then translate. So it's a projector. It doesn't originate, intuition doesn't originate from that third eye. And so having a very calm autonomic system, and that's what we're always needing to get back into, is calming our autonomic system, which also keeps us healthy. That's what allows us to then perceive a vision, an auditory sensation, a feeling, an authentic feeling, a smell. That's what allows that to happen. So I like to think of the brain when it's quiet. It looks like a downtown Seattle loft, empty, not a lot of furniture. There's not a lot going on in there. It's a big space. There's a lot to work with, but it requires that power move of quieting the mind and being present.
I want to ask next about multisensory awareness and how that relates to psychic sight and this tuning in with the deeper messages that your body might have.
So when we are tuning in with ourselves or another person, the information that comes to us, which could be visual, it could be multiple different ways that it comes across, it's going to seem so normal because it's so calm. A lot of people miss it. I was recently talking to a client who had a long history of, and maybe I hope this phrase is okay to say, but she didn't have control over her bowel area. So she couldn't go out. She'd been to lots of doctors. This had been going on for years for her, and it was really challenging and hard for her. So she reached out to see someone like me, and I got intuitive impressions about it. I knew that she was a type 2 diabetic and she was taking a certain medication. But what I kept telling her, because that's what kept coming to me, is that she absolutely cannot eat sweets. And she argued with me about it. And here she has type 2 diabetes, right? So she's not supposed to be eating sweets anyway. And as it turned out, because after a while, it seems so simple. Like even in my mind, I'm going, why am I telling her this? This is the person who's knowledgeable. She's intelligent. She's on, the right medication for herself at this time. The goal is to not take any medication, by the way, right? That's the ultimate goal for this particular person, or type 2, if we can change our eating habits and exercise and take good care of ourselves. So even my mind was arguing with my intuition, but I couldn't stop saying it. And it took her a couple months after our session, and she stopped eating sweets, and she got to reduce the medication that she was taking significantly. And that's what stopped the problem that she had with her body when she sought me out. So in other words, it was the medication that was creating the problem, but she had to stop eating sweets so that she could reduce the medication. I guess what I'm trying to say is the answers are incredibly simple. They're so simple that our mind wants to get in there and go, well, that doesn't even make any sense. Why would I say that? But even to the client, even to the people we're trying to help in our lives or people that we care about. Intuition is easy, it's simple, it's free flowing, it's so kind and loving and direct that most people ignore it because they're looking for something complicated. They think it has to be always related to past lives from 300 years ago, which it could be. But in reality, the solution is going to make sense for who you are right now in your life right now, so that you can have the freedom and the joy in your life and be able to move about the world in a powerful way.
Great. Well, maybe it would be great to understand a little bit when somebody's coming in with a presenting symptom, how do you go about turning on your medical intuition and starting to diagnose where there might be imbalances or simple solutions like that within somebody's health history or what's presenting right now?
The very first thing is to become neutral, to not have a care about what's going on with them, not thinking about them, to really stay in a neutral vibration, because that's where intuition is at its highest frequency. And to notice my own autonomic system. If I start to get stressed or worried, I need to nurture myself or talk to myself or do an internal exercise to get myself to not be in any form of stress or anxiety, because that's going to throw off my intuition. But then when I'm, in that space, I'm really searching for, looking for, getting curious for, hearing, smelling, because it doesn't always have to be visual, for bright light. I'm looking for high frequency uh, energy within someone's body, because that's how the body communicates, is through high frequency. So I'm not looking for stagnation. I'm not looking for low vibrational frequency. There could be all of that inside their body, but I know the answers that I need that will be the most effective are in high vibrational energy. So I'm looking for bright light. I'm looking for what's winking at me in a high frequency that's saying, hey, come over here. That's what I'm looking for. And that's my starting point. And then once I kind of join that bright light, it's almost as if I'm stepping into it, but I'm really curious as I'm approaching it with my own energy, then it starts to divulge information.
That's fascinating. I often think of like when you're looking for stagnancy or issues, you're sort of going to darker or occluded areas, but it's really like going into the light where it has like this higher vibration understanding to convey. That's very fascinating.
Yeah, it has all the knowledge is in the bright light, which once you start to get the knowledge, then the stagnation areas may start to release, they may start to let go. But my starting point is in the bright light.
So it's this tendency, sometimes human nature is want to focus on the problem or the presenting symptom where actually the solution is sometimes elsewhere in the field.
Yeah, even like trees, when they communicate, because they do communicate with each other, if they are having some sort of drought, they're looking for the tree that has more water that's willing to share. Right?
Mhm.
They're not looking for, well, we have to wait till the drought is resolved. No, they need to reach out for the tree that's healthy and fully hydrated, who will send more moisture through its roots, through a chain reaction through other trees, to give nourishment to the tree that's dehydrated.
That's interesting. So our system is sort of like a whole interconnected group of trees, and some parts of us are more nourished and more filled with energy and life force, and some more depleted, and we want to share.
Yes,
That's very
yes.
interesting. You want to share a little bit of like how you just kind of said, okay, it'll open up and start conveying information, or there's sort of a certain portal that opens. How do you start trusting whatever
Mm.
emotions are coming through?
Yeah, I think trust is so important. I think people have to practice. They have to practice listening to their own body. They have to practice listening to other bodies, and then follow the information that comes, especially if it's in bright, wonderful light. And then I think you get feedback. Oh, wow, that worked. That really, really worked. So again, the answers are very simple. So being present to the simplicity, and that means when we're not overthinking or analyzing, because the brain wants things to be complicated. It wants, it feels, especially if someone's been working really hard to hear, if someone's been working really hard to heal something within themselves, and so to them they're like, well, this must be super complicated, it's going to be really problematic. So you don't want to approach your own body or someone else's body in that vibration, even if you've been working for a long period of time to resolve the problem. You want to move towards it in a place as if it's brand new, as if you're approaching this for the very first time and you're excited. I think that would be lovely. And then information can just pop into your awareness. We're looking for solutions that, especially if it's been something that's been challenging, that have never come to your awareness before. Just like that one client, she'd seen many doctors and no one had suggested that she needs to reduce the medication that she was taking.
Mm-hmm.
So either that symptom had not been reported before, or it's so rare that it's not documented, right? So, but it's very simple. It was a very simple solution.
That makes a lot of sense. And so, in terms of the practices and the release of the emotions, we talked a little bit about that from temper tantrums. And how does it sort of become more granular of like, really recommending here's what's going to move the energy in any particular organ system, or if you've got something going on with your bowels. So how do you get to where it's like really dialed in and precise about what's going to be most helpful to move the energy?
I think, again, to, of course, get your own subatomic particles elevated, being happy, because health is a high frequency and it's a high vibration. But to also be aware of the fact there isn't going to be the same answer all the time. Everyone's body is very unique and different because we have different belief systems and different emotional experiences that we've had throughout our lifetime. Not everyone approaches a problem or an outcome the same way. Even if it's the same problem, not everyone approaches it emotionally the same way. So how someone puts a disease in their body, not meaning to, but it has come into their physical form and it's affecting them, is going to be different. So there isn't always a one way in or a one way out, which makes it so incredibly fun to hear a very unique answer for a different person who's having the same health issue.
I love that you bring in fun, and that's one of the things that I always find around you is that you're just uplift the energy field. You're not focused on the sort of the heaviness or the problem. That it's like you're in training at a higher level of energy, and that in itself is healing. So we share a little bit about that entrainment with higher energy. That's an important part of this.
Yes, I would say that the majority of people I work with, even if they don't have a health issue, they're not very happy. They're not enjoying their life. They're not having a good experience in life. And so, in order for me to really help them, they need to actually start to have fun. So, I may even encourage them to go swing on a swing, to play Twister, go have a water fight in the backyard with the neighbors or grandkids, or just because we need to get their subatomic particles elevated, because that's where the healing energy exists. So as a healer who raises her vibration often, I can help facilitate change pretty quickly. But I also know that I can't follow everyone around the planet forever and whisper, ideas into their ears to get them to go back to high frequency, high vibrational energy. So I encourage people to find the joy within themselves. And that alone could change a health issue instantly. There are times when I'm talking to an individual and their health issue can resolve spontaneously, even in just our conversation.
So in some ways, it sounds like the higher frequency energy almost like overwrites or dissolves some of the lower frequency energy.
Yes. I had a client who I was talking to on the phone who had a fistula. So some of her internal tissues had stuck through her skin. And she had it's really painful. It's not a common thing. I've seen it a few times in the hospital, but it's not super common. It was in her abdomen, I think. I can't remember exactly where it was on her body. And it had been going on for a couple of years. She'd been to many doctors and it just would not go back in. And then if it doesn't go back in, then the skin can't heal and it's painful. And we had a long conversation about it. I could read her energy and I could see that she's actually really happy. So when we're reading people's emotions, we want to go down to the second chakra area, not to their mind, not to their heart chakras. And a lot of people who study spirituality spend the majority of their time in their chest. So when she found out she was really happy, she moved into alignment. Her energy is just right in front of me. She's moved into alignment. It changed the perception in her brain. Her body responded very differently. And that night, after our session, she took a bath and the fistula went away. And it hasn't come back since.
Whoa, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
And I didn't even know, because not everybody tells me. She told me later. Like maybe like 8 or 9 months later, she told me what had happened. And so yes, if we can get our energy, our vibration, our frequency up into higher realms of consciousness, we have the understanding of what needs to occur. And again, it's a lot more simple than people think it is. It's not too complicated. The body is like this beautiful powered machine that knows exactly what to do. We just need to listen to it, see it, hear it, feel it, which we're all capable of doing, at least for ourselves and certainly for people that we love and cherish.
Hmm. Very cool. Do you want to give any other examples of this kind of work to just inspire us with possibilities, like the fistula just going away in the bath?
One of the things that I find fascinating, because I believe that lasers and light, that's why I'm so attracted to the light in people's body, is the way of the future for healing. I truly do. And I had a client who had a cardiac condition that surgery would not repair it, and none of the medicines were working anymore. And he and I had talked for a very long time about his overgiving heart. So he was giving all of his energy to, like, he could pick out a really sad, unhappy person in any crowd and just gravitate towards them and give him all of his life force. And I was doing everything I could to teach him to stop that. Like, you have this cardiac issue. You have no business running around the planet taking care of everyone. And at the same time, his ex-wife was very, very ill, and he had a daughter that had special needs. So he was surrounded, even in his, physical life, his personal physical life, with people that needed a lot of attention. And I knew he needed just tons of light, and I was giving him all the light I could. But what I had heard, and I've heard it before, is that he needed some near infrared and red light therapy. So yes, our energy can move things, but there's also things out in the world. Even sometimes I will recommend a medication for someone, or I'll tell them to stop taking a certain medication. But I encouraged him to, if he wanted to, because I always tell people to do whatever they want, they don't have to do what I say, to get a panel of near infrared and red light therapy. And he did it, and he sat in front of it the required time. And his cardiologist said, don't ever stop doing what you're doing, because it's actually working. So his cardiac condition healed within 3 weeks.
Whoa, that's amazing.
And so I think sometimes we need some outside forces to help us while we break really old stagnant patterns, like in his case, over caring for everyone, where he's always in that empathetic, where he's always in his empathetic heart, over giving his energy, which ultimately, after years and years of doing that, created a problem within his own physiology.
Truly fascinating, and that it's like, and that some of the results from these moves show up so quickly too. Well, let's, I know you want to take us into a very special activation today, and I understand that you've actually been planting seeds with all who are coming to this event well in advance in order to optimize receptivity. So maybe share a little bit about what you've been doing, and then we can all get into a state of receptivity to receive this activation.
Great. Thank you, Stephen. I'm very excited about it. And yes, you're right. I have been working on it for a few weeks now, so that whoever shows up for this time that we're sharing together will be ready for the activation to take hold in their body, and it will be simple and easy for them. So the universe started showing me towards the beginning of the year that collectively the human race is really, and you and I know this, we've been talking about this for a while, actually, that humanity is expanding its ability to be multisensory. And that's what's next for the human race in order to evolve. Instead of having pockets of people in certain parts of the world, that the collective is moving towards a mass consciousness. And so the universe showed me a little slit. It's almost like an envelope. It's between the first and second layers of the auric field. It's right around the shoulder area between people. And that if I slip some energy in there, it can help activate their psychic sight, their multisensory abilities, whether it's auditory or clairsentient, or obviously clairvoyant, that it's going to expand this aspect of themselves. And it has not only that wonderful result from this little envelope that I'm sticking energy into. And I have been practicing too. I've been practicing in the real world as well. It also, because it's right around the shoulder, so it's aligned with the throat chakra, so it feeds the fifth layer of the auric field, which is where everyone's natural gifts and talents are. So it opens up this multisensory aspect for the individual, but it also helps illuminate the fifth layer of their auric field so that they can start to have resonance with their natural gifts and talents, which everyone deserves. It's really fun when you find out things about yourself that are unique and fulfilling for you, and you feel really good about them.
Beautiful. Well, let's do it.
Okay, so why don't we do a meditation? And you're all prepped for this, thanks to my guides and all of your guides. So everybody's guides are involved in this activity. And not only are your guide groups involved in this activity, because everybody on the other side is really excited that the human race is expanding into their multisensory awareness, because it makes it easier and more interesting for all the communication to occur between different realms of existence. But beings of even higher consciousness, like masters and archangels, everyone's on board. Everyone's very excited for this beautiful endeavor. So let's go ahead and start with the activation. So everyone, please close your eyes. And while you're taking some beautiful deep breaths, either wiggle your toes or shake your feet or move your knees, whatever feels comfortable for you, for about 15 seconds while we get some of the energy away from your beautiful mind, your brain, and have it rest in the lower half of your body. So just allowing that to happen as you're taking some beautiful deep breaths. And if you're comfortable, if you could rotate your eyeballs up about 45 degrees, you can keep them there or let them relax again after several deep breaths. This will help you move into deeper self-hypnosis. So everybody's excited and delighted for this exchange. And we are going to assist in this activity by quieting and relaxing our autonomic system. When the autonomic system is relaxed, because we really do manifest through the autonomic system, and that's why certain things in our life we easily manifest, because our autonomic system is calm. And then there are certain areas of our life that we don't know how to, or we're not willing to relax the autonomic system. Those are the areas that are more challenging to manifest, to shift, to change. So right now, all of us are moving into a healthier nervous system. Taking deep breaths as we're allowing the autonomic system to move into healthy relaxation. You might even feel your legs relax and just your knees move towards the side. You may feel your shoulders relax, your neck, your lower back. And really let yourself sink into your glute muscles. If you're sitting down, really allow that part of your body to take the weight of your physical form so you can relax even further. And in this relaxation, we allow beautiful bright light to move into the top of our heads and further relax our autonomic system. Good. And in this relaxation, your body's naturally letting go of anything stagnant. Anything that's been hanging out in low vibrational energy is just releasing, effortlessly flowing out of your body, and it's creating space so that high-powered, high vibrational frequency can move in. So you're moving in beautiful alignment with your hara line, with your chakra system, with your consciousness. You're in a perfect vibrational vibration to allow that little envelope to open up and take in energy. So you may feel something above your shoulder. It's typically the left shoulder, but it could be the right. We're all uniquely different. And whether you see this, hear this, or feel this, you're allowing this experience to occur. And I feel delighted to be part of this activation. Your body knows how to do this. We're just doing this more consciously and all together for a powerful response and outcome. So the opening has occurred above your shoulder. Your fifth chakra is taking in cobalt blue light, which is then activating, sending energy to the fifth layer of your auric field so that those natural gifts and talents can be illuminated. You are a being of color, of light, of vibration and frequency, and your energy is being activated in every way, in every shape and form. And now there's a stream of beautiful white light moving into the envelope in between the second and first layer of your auric field. And this bright light knows exactly where to go to enhance the activation for you. And again, we're unique. It may not go in the exact same place for everyone as it moves into your auric field. It might move into every layer. It might just spread out through the opening between the first and the second. It could go deep within your physical form. So everyone may have different experiences, which is healthy and normal. But we're allowing the activation to occur. And now your crown chakra is becoming more attached, more deeply rooted into the top of your head, moving about 2 inches. The point is deeper into the skull. For the seventh vortex is our connection to spirit from the chakra perspective. And now that the activation is happening in multiple layers, because that's what true activation does. It happens in multiple fashion within your body, within your psyche, within your energy system. You may even feel like your body wants to move, allow it to float, go back and forth, spin, whatever you want. If it needs to, allow that to happen. And these activation points from the fifth chakra, the crown of the seventh, and the little envelope between the first and second layer, they're going to come together just below the fourth chakra, so just below the heart, above the third chakra, and begin to move out in your body like a starburst, hitting every cell, every DNA strand, every RNA strand, move throughout the autonomic system, taking deep breaths as this continues, this high-powered activation. It's also positively affecting any health concerns you might have or some that are unknown to you. So it's going to move in on a cellular level and allow that area to move in progression. So if you change your diet after this activation, or you start to exercise differently, or you start to see an energy aware therapist, it could be very much related to this activation. Taking deep breaths. Good. And you may start to feel tingling in the forehead as your third eye extends further out than it has before, allowing the grid lines to become very strong and powerful that make up the shape of the third eye. These grid lines are vertical and horizontal. And as they meet each other's lines, the ability to hear, see, or feel becomes more precise, becomes stronger, feels real. And intuition likes to remind us of solutions over and over again. If we tend to ignore them or pretend they're not real, it will keep bringing it back to you like a boomerang until you go, oh, okay, great, I'll try that. Good. And now your whole auric field is filling up with light because the activation is almost complete. And know that it's normal to feel warmth or tingling or coolness in your body anytime you're connected to activation or a movement of consciousness with your energy system. It's normal. And we're just letting our mind relax and be present with our experiences and not try to understand it from an intellectual perspective. We're just letting go, moving into the power energy of the present moment. Trusting the divine, that it knows how to work with you and that it loves you unconditionally and sees you only as your master self. For that is what you are. Omnipresence. Good. When you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. You're probably going to feel something for a while after this in your energy system, and I would encourage you to become present with it so it can continue to share with you how it's moving in your physical form, so you can delight in the experience.
Hmm. Beautiful. Well, thank you for that. How would you recommend continuing to, deepen that so that we're opening to that next level of information?
Great question. I would continue to witness the moments when you're in that power surge of mind quiet. I would continue to witness the present moment, be present with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Great. And continuing, so there's the level of things of really understanding and receiving more messages from our own body and the high frequency messages. How do you, as people shift and start to open to getting information about others too, are there special things to bear in mind about how to embark on that process?
Right. Well, that could happen as well, just as quickly, because sometimes it's easier to read the energy of a stranger than it is our own body. And that if someone asks you, hey, my back's been hurting, would you take a look, or would you feel it out? If someone encourages you to do that, just remember that you want to wait until your autonomic system is calm. So in my personal life, when my kids ask me health questions, intuitive ones, I give myself several hours, sometimes a day, because I could be busy working and have other things going on in my life, but I wait. So give yourself space, like trust that you have this knowledge, you have this ability, and it's okay to say, sure, I'm happy to help you. I just want to wait till I'm in a power surge moment, which really means a quieting of the mind. And then I'll be happy to visit that part of your body or check in with your physical form and give you my intuitive impressions, which are always going to be calm, not something that the brain easily believes, which is another sign you're on the right track. And it's simple. It's very, very simple.
Mm.
I was one of my grandchildren had injured their finger at my house, and one of my daughters asked me to scan it to see if it was fractured. And so I said, okay, I'm going to need maybe an hour. Because I mean, it's the baby have a broken finger. I had to calm down my autonomic system. And then I noticed after about an hour, she was playing she wasn't crying anymore. She was playing in the dining room. And so I just kind of snuck up close to her without interacting and scanned her with my emotional response system and my multisensory ability. And I didn't pick up a feeling of a fracture or a vision of a fracture. I didn't hear the word fracture. And I could see, though, because I'm very clairvoyant, that her growth plates are quite large. And she is tall already for her age. And one of her grandfathers is very tall. So I said to my daughter, I don't have any impressions of a fracture. I go, but if she's in pain, in a day or so, take her to the doctor, have it checked out. So she was complaining of discomfort. My daughter took her to an urgent care facility, and the facility said it was fractured and referred my daughter to an pediatric surgeon at the children's hospital. So my daughter goes to see the surgeon, and he took another x-ray and said it wasn't fractured, but he said her growth plate is so large that the other physician misinterpreted that as a fracture. So you have to trust yourself. I think
That's
that's
amazing. Amazingly precise. Yeah.
right. So I think it's just so important. But even when, I even tell people, well, go have a checkup. Like I want people to take good care of themselves. But yes, we need to believe in ourselves. We need to trust ourselves, because I think we do know. And the only funny part about that story, I think, was that my granddaughter was so upset when the surgeon took off this little splint that the other physician had put on, because she didn't need it and she really liked it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, you're just filled with so many powerful insights and just a joyful spirit of exploration with all of this work. And I know there's so much you can convey to others and activate in others. So I want to spend some time now talking about your upcoming course that we mentioned, which is an amazing opportunity to learn from you and really be able to develop this deeper intuitive medical knowledge for ourselves and others. So Marie's agreed to teach a brand new course for Shift. It's called How to Recognize and Translate Medical Intuitive Knowledge. Learn to decipher the body's messages to support deep healing for yourself and others. You can find it at the URL recognizeintuitivegifts.com, recognizeintuitivegifts.com. You don't have to have this ability activated yet. This is for anybody who feels drawn and wants to learn the foundations, or if you already have medical intuition coming online to really take it to the next level. So, Marie, I'd love for you to share some of your intentions for what people are going to come away with and what's unique about this program. And then we can go through the modules and give a preview of what you're going to be teaching.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stephen. I really want people to feel confident in their ability to hear, see, feel, know the human body. Like it is our temple. It's what our soul chose to occupy as a vessel and while we journey here on this beautiful planet Earth. So becoming friends with your own body first and feeling comfortable with it and learning to be comfortable with it, even if it's telling you that it hurts. I was having some pain in one of my fingers when I was traveling recently. And I thought, I'm taking all the right stuff. I haven't done anything wrong. And then it was like a day later because I detached, right? I didn't sit there and focus on it or get worried about it. I didn't call anyone. I just detached. And a couple days later, I was shown pictures of all of this kind of fermented food I'd been eating that perhaps there were some natural nitrates in it of some sort. And that sometimes can bring joint pain. So I was like, it just came spontaneously. And then I went, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to eat any of that for a while. I'm going to take a break from it. So I want people to feel confident, not only for their own physical form, because the pain went away after that, that there's simple solutions, but also to help your family members and friends too, by validating their choices or offering a new perception or a new perception to your own body, even that could take you from a place of having to do things differently to avoid health challenges to having complete freedom and not needing anything that you have to do with your body to make it well.
Great. Well, that's powerful intentions. So module 1 is called Allow Your Mind to Quiet to Discern Logic from Intuition and Build Trust in Your Intuitive Skills.
Yeah. So one of the first things that individuals need to decipher is what does make their mind quiet. Everyone's different, right? Everyone's different. So you kind of have to play around. I'm going to give lots of ideas and examples, and we'll do some practices. And my hope is that in that module, you're going to discover some beautiful things about yourself that work. All I have to do for me is look at nature. And so I'm surrounded by nature. Even every once in a while, I turn my head and look out the window to see the hydrangea that's next to me, because I know it's going to relax my mind and put me back into that power source of the present moment. So we're going to spend a lot of time talking about it, even the anatomy and physiology, how it's affected when you're in that power source of quieting the mind.
Module 2, discover your reader board and learn to translate the messages you're already receiving.
Yeah, one of the things I worried about when I became a new intuitive, because there isn't like a magical book that drops from the heavens, that tells you what things mean. And I was really worried that I wouldn't be able to decipher messages. I also found out at that time I was a medium and I didn't know how I was going to translate. I was very worried, like I just wanted help to be able to understand what things meant. But I didn't realize that it was already inside of me and I didn't have to worry about it. And my spirit guides shared with me that everyone has a reader board outside of their auric field, like a sandwich board. And on the sandwich board, there is information that the spirit world and your body can read about you on how you work. So we don't have to work so hard to make sure that the universe understands what we're thinking or what we desire or what we want to create or what other people need. We don't have to work so hard. Everything that is non-physical knows exactly how a person works. So for example, on my reader board, it says let's say an example for mediumship, it says, don't bother sharing the person's name who wants to talk to their loved one, because Marie doesn't care about names. It's not something that she's interested in. And so I don't have to work so hard to find it. Am I talking to Uncle Bill or Uncle Joseph? I can see them and I can tell you what their hair color is like and their personality. So everyone has their own unique way of working, where someone else that may say, share your name. Samantha would love to hear the word Josh and would love to explain it, or say the word liver because they would love to hear the word liver. So everyone's reader board is unique and different because we're all beautifully talented and very much intuitive. And everything that's non-physical has access to your reader board and knows how to approach you, how to communicate to you, and how to share vital information so that you can do intuitive work.
Module 3, understand how you respond to information to regulate your emotions for greater clarity, calm, and intuitive insight.
Yes, like I know when it comes to my family, I can move into fight or flight. So that's why after a while, I had some false starts where my kids are asking me intuitive questions and I'm giving an answer so quickly and it wasn't as effective or helpful. So I finally said, oh, I need time. I need space. I know that my autonomic system, it gets triggered when someone that I'm related to or connected to on a regular basis has a problem. I get freaked out. So I have to give myself space. So knowing what upsets you and knowing the signs of when you are not in alignment and then putting yourself back into alignment is key. I do know when I work with clients whose life is very similar to mine, like our children are the same age, or maybe we've had a similar career path, or they're the same age of me as I am. I know that kind of triggers me a little bit if they have a serious health issue, and I have to work a little harder to calm my autonomic system as I'm reading their energy. So that's an important, knowing when you're not in a good regulation of your emotions is critical, and knowing how to get regulated is critical. And that's what we're going to be doing in that module.
Module 4, let go of what you think you know and embrace the unknown to uncover true health and vitality.
Yeah, that's the funnest part about energy medicine, I think, and psychic medical intuition is it's not one size fits all. And modern medicine is you have this health issue, you take these pills for this amount of time and it's gone, which does work, in many cases. And I'm grateful for that. But people who aren't healing through modern medicine or even through their supplements, it's because they are unique, they're different, and we have to approach them in a different way. So I like to approach every single person as if I don't know anything about them. I don't know what's going to work for them. And I'm open for something very unique to be presented to me, so that I can pass that on to them and that can help them to heal. I think many healers who work from that vantage point, we don't know what's going to work. And that's the place you want to be in. I worry if I think I know what I'm doing, or I think I have all the answers. I don't want to ever put myself in that position. I want to be really open to all the possibilities and all the different ways that people can heal.
Module 5, experience the bigger picture through intuitive knowing to dissolve resistance and activate a psychic layer of your aura.
Right. So one of the things that happens when you practice your intuition and you start to trust it and you start to follow it, you move into a higher realm within the vibrational part of your aura. It's like you activate the 6th layer of your auric field, which is the psychic realm, into what all psychics hope to experience, all people want to experience intuitively, is knowingness, where you just know. You don't know why you know. Again, your brain's going to think it's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I bought a house once, and when I got the keys to the door, it was a brand new house. I knew that all the flooring was going to have to be replaced in a few years. And my brain was going, what are you talking about? That's crazy. Everything looks great. Well, sure enough, a few years later, I did have to replace all the flooring. So I think we get these big hits of information, but we don't believe it. But it's this thing of knowingness. Like, you don't always understand all the information about it. You just have a knowingness about it. Like, you've been told something, you heard something, you felt something. It's very clear, but the logical mind thinks we're crazy. And that's why we want our logical mind to be quiet. So we always want to move into the knowingness where things just make sense. We don't know why.
Module 6, let your real emotions guide you, clarify intuitive messages, and surprise you with unexpected information.
Right. So intuition is very surprising. I'm always surprised every single day when I get intuitive responses professionally and personally. I'm always surprised. So, in order to make that happen, you have to get out of your mind made emotions, which we'll talk a lot about during this class, and get into your authentic emotions, which are always calm. They're always calm, they're compassionate, and they're a little bit surprising. And it allows us to clarify our intuition when we have that particular alignment.
And finally, Module 7, search for the light to discover healing pathways and energize them.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about at the beginning of this course. When I'm looking at anyone, I'm not in worry, I'm not in fear to the best of my ability. I've regulated my emotional response system and I'm looking for the bright light within them because that's the part that wants to communicate, that has all the knowledge, and that is ready to give me insight so I can help that person or myself heal.
Hmm. Well, what an amazing program. And I know you're just so skilled at helping to elicit people's really deeper capacities in a way that's very empowering and fun and uplifting. So again, the whole program is laid out in detail at recognizeintuitivegifts.com, recognizeintuitivegifts.com. We've just described the 7 modules. Those are all great times to ask your questions live and engage in practices together. There's real power in doing practices as a community. You also get recordings of every session, both video and audio, as well as word-for-word transcripts. There are weekly practices that Marie will give you for deepening your knowledge at home. There's community group to support you. There's also small group time to discuss what you're experiencing and to go deeper in the practices. And on the page, you'll also see a number of extra bonuses that have each been generously added to enhance your journey. There's a PDF chart by Marie called The Emotional and Energetic Causes of Disease. Sounds very cool. You want to share more about that PDF chart?
Yeah, it comes from my book, Intuitive Self Healing. And so I learned really early on in the hospital because I would go into patients' rooms that I was not assigned to and read their energy. And then I would go out and read their chart. And I created an encyclopedia in my mind of what the energy meant in terms of the repressed emotion that's led to their disease.
Totally fascinating. That's just one bonus. And then there's a second bonus called Rest in the Lower Half of Your Body for Greater Insight. That's an intriguing video teaching. You want to share more about that one?
Yeah, it's kind of my signature move that my guides taught me years ago. Because I'm not someone who really knew what I really felt. I thought I knew what I was feeling because I can feel everyone else super easy. So I've had to learn to feel my own emotions, and that has massively ignited my psychic ability. And so I teach this to everyone that I can, actually, as often as I can. I think it's an important aspect, not just for our psychic site, but just our own personal happiness and joy.
Really cool bonus. And then there's a third bonus that is our special bonus. It's actually a very robust bonus that you get when you sign up by midnight tonight Pacific time. This is a full audio meditation called the 30-day self-hypnosis meditation for medical intuition. I'll share more about that special bonus they get now, and it gives them a great jump on the whole program.
Yes, I really believe that we need repetitive information that circulates through our energy system to convince us of the truth of who we are. I believe we all have a lot of self-critical, unrealistic, and I mean unrealistic that we tend to think so negatively and unhealthy about ourselves. And so I love to create self-hypnosis meditations that require a 30-day, or it would be in someone's best interest to listen to it every day for 30 days so we can reprogram the subconscious mind and start operating more in the vibration of the truth of who we are, the incredible aspect of who we are, versus, arguing with our inner world that tends to be self-critical.
Hmm. What a great extra bonus. And it's a great reason to sign up today at recognizeintuitivegifts.com. So a few more things about the program. We've kept the investment very accessible. It's just 3 payments of $128, or you save 10% when you pay in full with one payment of $349. The course is going to start on October 20th and run Mondays at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 Eastern. But even if you can't make the live times, you can still get the full value with the recordings, the transcripts, and the community as well. There's some great testimonials. People love studying with Marie. So, her enthusiasm is contagious. She's empowering, she's fun, and really very profound in what she shares. So you're in really great hands, and you will make deep progress on opening to your own deeper intuitive gifts, and particularly around the messages from the body and medical intuition. So again, it's all at Recognize Intuitive Gifts. And if you sign up by midnight tonight, you're going to get that special 30-day self-hypnosis meditation for medical intuition. So Marie, it's always a joy to be with you. I always leave so uplifted, and anything that's still on your heart you want to share with folks who are considering doing the new course with you.
Thank you, Stephen. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you as well. That I'm just so excited for the collective consciousness of humanity moving up the scale of awareness. I'm delighted, inspired, and really happy for everyone because it changes your life to be able to hear, see, and feel the multisensory world. And it really changes us deeply to be able to heal ourselves, to read inside of our bodies, and to read inside the bodies of others. It makes us feel powerful because we are powerful. And I'm glad that collectively we're beginning to recognize this and to accept our magnificence while we're still here in this beautiful place called Earth.
Beautiful. Well, Marie, you're a blessing to all of us. Thank you. And thank you all for joining, and look forward to seeing many of you in the upcoming course with Marie, which again is at recognizeintuitivegifts.com, and it's called How to Recognize and Translate Medical Intuitive Knowledge. Learn to decipher the body's messages to support deep healing for yourself and others. And you'll get that special 30-day bonus self-hypnosis meditation for medical intuition when you sign up by midnight tonight. So thank you so much. Many blessings.